chào quý khán giả VNTV 55.2. Chúng tôi là tiến sĩ dược khoa Diana Trần. Cảm ơn quý vị rất là nhiều đã trở lại với chương trình với chúng tôi. Thì giống như mọi lần chúng tôi có người bạn anh em rất là thân thuộc, đó là tiến sĩ Chị Phạm. Thưa mời tiến sĩ Chị Phạm gửi lời chào đến với các khán giả VNTV 55.2.
Kính thưa Diana cũng như là tất cả quý vị, chị rất vui mừng là được trở lại hậu chuyện cùng với lại quý vị. Chị cũng vắng bóng một vài tuần rồi, mà hôm nay thì được trở lại thì hậu chuyện quý vị thì chị rất là vui. Xin mời quý vị tiếp tục theo dõi chương trình, một chương trình rất là lý thú, rất là bổ ích thưa quý vị.
Cảm ơn quý vị rất nhiều. Chúng tôi rất là hân hạnh là chúng tôi mời hai vị guest rất là chắc là Dr. Lasanta. Hồi xưa quý vị nhớ là chúng tôi có chia sẻ một cái chương trình nói về chiropractic, và chúng tôi cũng có cô Biliana đến giúp cho chung với chương trình. Thì hôm nay chương trình rất là đặc biệt. Cái tên của chương trình hôm nay gọi là bảo vệ lưng của bạn. Vâng, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. Today's show we're very honored. We have a very special guest. This is Dr. Lasanta, Dr. Renee Lasanta. He comes with many years of experience. That is 11 years of chiropractic experience. He is also an instructor for Dawson High School, which is located in Pearland, Texas.
Yes.
Dr. Lasanta also served as an adjunct professor of the College of Mainland and Board of Directors, junior members of Board of Directors of HOSA in Area 2. Once again, thank you so much for joining us, Dr. Lasanta.
Thank you for having me.
And of course, as always, you remember Biliana. Biliana has now been on various shows, and she's always a great assistant. Today, she will serve as Dr. Lasanta's assistant. So once again, thank you so much for joining us, and let's get started.
Okay.
Great. The name of our show is we're talking about the back injury prevention.
Yes.
These back injuries occur not just within adults, but also with children,
yes,
with teenagers, with small kids, and so we have so many injuries. I mean, from the hospital standpoint, I'm sure Dr. Tree, Pham, and we can share with you that we have patients come in the hospital through the emergency room. Oftentimes, the injury may not just come in through the emergency room, but the back injuries is causing so much pain that the patient population walks around with the pain, and so they're taking medication on their own, causing them to have ulcer, or even sometimes be addicted to the severe pain medication.
Right.
So protecting the back is such an important topic.
Yes, it is.
So let's start with, we know that school will resume in just a couple of days or so, and as our children begin to carry backpacks, back in the olden days, I'm sure you remember this back in movies like Leaving for Beaver, or maybe 90210, or even back in the Happy Days. I remember the high school kids back then, they only have maybe 1 or 2 books to school. Maybe they'll bring a binder, and that's it. But nowadays, our kids they take AP classes, and a lot of the AP classes have 2 or 3 books, especially if they have labs, biology lab, physics lab, and these labs also have books.
Right.
In addition to, kids now play sports. They bring all type of equipment, sports gear with them. The gear can be placed in a backpack or just put around their shoulder. And of course, our kids now have music. They play music. They take art. The music classes, of course, requires to carry instruments like the guitar, violin. I'm sure Dawson High School students can appreciate carrying drums around, right? And as you all know, Biliana is also a student at Dawson High School, so she can share with you all the type of things that they carry around. ROTC, they carry all types of heavy items,
yes,
all around school in the morning, all the way up until after school, 5 p.m., 7 p.m. So given the fact that our children, our teenage kids are burdened with carrying so much weight, can you share with us, is this increase in weight load good for the back, Dr. Lasanta?
No, it's not. Anytime you put an increased weight or increased stress on the body is going to react in a negative way. The increased weight, especially in a backpack,
because you're carrying it in your back. And if you carry it incorrectly, it's going to cause lifelong problems that will follow the person into adulthood and into their elderly years. So what happens is that when you, especially if we talk about the shoulders, just in the shoulder area, we haven't not even going to the back, just in the shoulder area, we have a nervous pathway that's called the brachial plexus, okay, that the shoulder straps go over. And with the increased weight, what that does is it puts a lot of stress and a lot of pressure, a lot of compression on the brachial plexus, okay, and it's like a highway, like the interchange at 59 and the Beltway, where you have all kinds of highways going this way and that way. And the brachial plexus is important for the nerve innervation or the nerve function of the arms and the hands. Okay, so that's where it goes down into the hands. So that increased weight causes a lot of pressure, causes a lot of compression, and can cause a lot of damage in the arms and in the hands.
Oh, wow.
And as I was going through my research and things like that, so some of the things that we need to look at as parents, we really need to take a look at some different signs and symptoms that we may see in our child that may tell us that the backpack is too heavy. Okay, one of them is the posture. Okay, so if you see your child walking around with hunched shoulders, or they're always slouching, things like that, that's maybe a sign that the backpack is too heavy. If they complain of tingling and numbness in their fingers, in their arms, in their shoulders, that is definitely a sign that the backpack is too heavy. Okay, or you may be an incorrect backpack with the strap, and we'll go into that a little bit later.
Yes.
So there's a lot of different signs and symptoms that we as parents don't always look at, but we should be very aware of as far as backpack safety. The average textbook in high school today weighs about 10 pounds. Okay, weighs about 10 pounds. So the standard, or what we recommend, the weight for being inside the backpack is no more than 15% of the individual's body weight. So Biliana, you weigh maybe around 100 pounds or so. So you shouldn't have more than 15 pounds in your backpack.
Oh my goodness.
And I'm sure that you, because I've seen you, I'm sure you have 20, 25, 30 pounds in your backpack, and that can cause a lot of problems. Okay.
So now, even though you said that, I still have a question for you. Some people think that for kids to carry heavy weight on their backs kind of build characters, make them tough and strong. Right. What do you think about it?
No, I just think it makes them tired. If anything, because the bone maturity has not been reached in the child. Okay, and we're talking 11-year-olds to 16, 17-year-olds. Bone maturity reaches is full strength for females at 18 and for males at 21. So until that bone maturity is in place, the child is subjected to damage from having too much weight in their backs. It can cause significant problems. It can cause, because if there's too much weight on the person's body, they tend to lean forward at the hips. They tend to hunch over. So that's going to cause an irregular or an abnormal curvature of the thoracic spine. I mean, there's already one there, but it's going to make it where the person becomes hunchback. And that's one thing that we don't want to happen. It does not build character, and it doesn't make you tough. It really doesn't. But it does cause misalignment of the spine, and with misalignment of the spine, it can interfere with the functions of the nerve, which interferes with the function of the rest of the body. Yes.
So what are some long-term effects of like a kindergartner or someone really young carrying a heavy load, like a backpack?
Okay. So what are the long-term effects? So let's take a look at a kindergartner. Weighs maybe 40 pounds. So when we look at we use a 15% standard, okay, a 50% recommendation. The little backpack that they're wearing should have no more than 5 pounds in it, okay? And you see kindergartners walking around with 10, 15 pounds in there, okay? Long-term effect, the bones in a kindergartner are pretty much still cartilage. I mean, they're being formed, but they're pretty much cartilage. So if you have a kindergarten walking around hunched, okay, or if you have the kindergarten with one strap on over to the side, what's going to cause is going to cause a curvature, an abnormal curvature of the spine, which can cause a lot of problems as far as the development, the normal development of the child. And when you look at as the child grows, it's going to cause permanent damage because there's an abnormal or an unusual amount of compression on in the thoracic spine on the anterior or the front part of the bone, in the lumbar spine on the back part of the bone, okay, and everything is not equal. In the spine, we have discs in between each one of the bones. So if we're leaning too far forward because gravity pushes us down, then the front part of the bone is going to be compressed, okay, opening up the back and compressing the front, which is causing an abnormality in the way that the bone is formed. And in the lumbar spine, where it should be straight, it's going to open up the front and it's going to compress the back, putting more pressure and closing up what we call foramens, where the blood vessels and the nerves all come through. So it's going to close up that space where those vessels can come through, causing more problems in the legs. So something like that can cause numbness, could cause some minor paresthesia or some paralysis in the legs and abnormal functions.
I see. You mentioned that so then in other words, the curvature of the spine is actually most vulnerable at what exact stage again?
Between the ages of, I would say, it depends on which literature you look at, but I would say it's most vulnerable between the ages of 11 and 16.
Oh, wow.
Because that's the age where the child is in junior high school and high school, and they're starting to carry more weight, more weight, and more weight, because they don't want to go to their lockers. Okay, they have a locker, but they don't want to go to their lockers and get their books out of their lockers between classes because they want to talk to their friends.
Gosh, Billiana, do you relate to us?
They want to talk to their friends in between classes, so they put 5 or 6 books in their backpack, and they weigh themselves down 30 pounds, 35 pounds, when they only weigh 90 pounds. Okay, so that puts an undue pressure and undue amount of stress on the body.
Right. Yeah. I think you mentioned about this, but I think the children out there and the audience in general need to hear from you one more time. In the sense that some children, some kids, they think that carry a backpack on one side or the other is more cool than carries in between, you know, I mean, on their back. So, you don't mind telling the kids one more time that it's not cool. It's going to damage your spine for a long time.
Let me tell you, it looks cool. It looks cool. I have a 14-year-old,
right,
and he likes to carry his back. I always make him change, but you know, when you don't see them, they change it. But he likes to carry his backpack on one side. I guess to them it looks cool, okay? but they're actually putting a lot of pressure on their spine. And if I may demonstrate with Biliana,
Yes.
okay. So let's take this pink one here.
Okay.
Are we okay?
Yes.
All right. So let's take this pink one. Now this pink one doesn't weigh a whole lot. I think she's got a teddy bear in there. So if we were to just put it on one side, okay, and this is now. Let's say this is 20 pounds or so. So what it's going to do is going to lean her this way. All right. So what's happening is we're having an abnormal curvature to the spine to the left. If it's on the right side, it's coming to the right. All right. So what she has to do is she has to put a lot of pressure to come back to straighten herself up. But what's happening is a lot of pressure is coming from the back and not from the top. So in the long run, she will develop an exaggerated curve, like a scoliosis, to the left side. Okay. That's why it's not cool. It's not cool to put it on one side.
What about, is it cool to carry a pink bag around?
If you're Biliana, I guess it's okay.
I think that's your favorite color, right, Jim? Okay, great. Well, it looks like we have how about if you don't mind sharing a little bit more? At the second part of the show, we'll share a little bit more details in the various way of carrying the bags and how to lift up a heavy box. As you can see here, this is our demonstration props. So chị, if you would like to share with our Vietnamese audience everything that we've learned today.
Right. Thưa quý vị khán giả, thì như Dr. Placenta có đề cập đó, cái vấn đề mà cẩn thận để mà bảo vệ cái lưng của mình là quan trọng, như là Diana cũng có nói ở phần đầu của chương trình đó, là tại vì nhiều khi nếu mà mình làm ở phòng emergency room hay là nhiều khi mình làm bệnh viện nói chung á, nhiều khi bệnh nhân vào là tại vì không có biết, không có cẩn thận, không có biết bảo vệ cái lưng của mình, mà nhiều khi lại bị tổn thương cái lưng thì nó cũng có nguy hiểm. Thì Dr. Placenta có mention đó là có đề cập đó là đặc biệt là cho trẻ em trong cái độ tuổi đi học đó, thì nếu mà mang cái backpack, tức là cái túi mà mang sau lưng mình đó, thì không bao giờ mà nên mang cái túi mà nó nặng hơn 15% của cái trọng lượng cơ thể mình. Tại vì như Dr. Placenta có mention đó là nếu một người mà nặng 100 pound chẳng hạn, thì không bao giờ mình nên mang một cái backpack mà nặng quá 15 pound. Đồng thời nếu mình mang á, thì mình mang ở giữa cái lưng chứ đừng có mang một bên này hoặc bên kia. Tại vì về lâu về dài đó nó có thể gây tổn hại đến cái lưng của mình, cái xương sống của mình. Đặc biệt là trong cái độ tuổi mà trẻ em còn đi học, thì cái độ tuổi là cái xương sống nói chung hay là tất cả những cơ quan cơ thể, đặc biệt là bộ xương nó trong cái thời kỳ phát triển, mà nếu mà nó có thể gây cái tổn hại như vậy thì cái tác dụng về lâu về dài thì rất là nguy hiểm, không được tốt. Bên cạnh đó chị cũng xin nhấn mạnh là khi mà mình mang cái backpack đó, nên mang ở chính giữa cái lưng chứ không nên mang một bên. Tại một ngày 2 ngày thì không sao, nhưng mà về lâu về dài, tại vì trẻ em đi học thì từ năm này qua năm nọ chứ không thể một ngày 2 ngày, một tuần 2 tuần, thì nó có thể gây tổn thương đến cái xương sống của mình. Tại vì cái balance, cái alignment của cái xương sống của mình nó có thể là bị ảnh hưởng rất là nặng nề nếu mà mình mang một cái backpack mà nặng như vậy mà mang một bên không có đúng cách, thưa quý vị.
Vâng, và chúng tôi cũng xin là bổ túc thêm, giống như là hồi nãy Dr. Placenta chia sẻ là từ các trẻ em từ 11 tuổi đến 16 tuổi đó, thì cái lưng, cái xương sống của mình nó lúc đó là nó vẫn nó rất là dẻo, phải không? Vâng, thật ra các trẻ em mà nếu mà cầm những cái bao mà quá nặng đi tay thường thì quý vị thấy là hồi xưa lúc mà trước đây mấy chục năm trước thì các em đi học không có phải cần mang một cái mình không có cần đem sách vở đi học nhiều, nhưng bây giờ trong trường high school hay là trường kindergarten, từ trường lên tới đại học cũng vậy, các em lúc nào cũng phải đem sách đầy hết trơn. Chắc hồi xưa chị đi học chắc chị đem mấy cái quyển sách học ra tới tiến sĩ chắc là nhiều sách lắm, phải không? Thành ra rất là cái lưng của mình nó cũng như nó gánh một cái nặng quá đi, thành ra nó làm cái lưng của mình nó có thể hại cho sau này. Nhất là trong nhà thương Diana thấy rằng là rất là nhiều các vị bệnh nhân mà khi mà mổ cái lưng đó nó rất là nguy hiểm. Là tại sao? Là tại vì khi mà các vị bệnh nhân mà tới 70 tuổi, 80 tuổi, 90 tuổi đó mà phải mổ lưng đó, thì nó nguy hiểm là tại vì cái surgery, cái sự mổ đó nó không có dễ dàng đâu, phải không? Mà sau khi mà mình mổ xong thì nó cũng là vừa đau đớn rồi phải có thuốc rồi, thành ra tốt hơn là chúng ta nên làm protect, cẩn thận thêm. Vâng, cảm ơn quý vị. Kính thưa quý vị, chúng tôi rất tiếc là chúng tôi đã chia sẻ xong trong phần 1 rồi, thì chúng tôi sẽ mời quý vị trở lại trong cái phần 2 của chương trình ngày hôm nay. Chúng tôi sẽ chia sẻ thêm và đi sâu vào cái chi tiết để làm sao mà quý vị, tất cả các em trẻ, quý vị, các cụ bà, cụ ông khi mà đang xem chương trình này có thể là chỉ dẫn thêm lại cho các cháu ngoại, cháu nội của mình, phải không? Hay là cha mẹ của mình, cha mẹ của mình dạy lại cho các con, phải không? Vâng, cảm ơn quý vị rất nhiều. Thưa mời quý vị đừng lời đằng sống và trở lại với chương trình phần 2 của chương trình. Vâng, cảm ơn quý vị rất nhiều.